Ty, what did you like about playing baseball?
George, many years ago, a sports writer asked me if I liked playing baseball. Hell no, I told him. I didn't like playing baseball. I loved playing baseball. Fact is, I love playing baseball more than anything in this whole wide world, except for my lovely wife and 5 children. I love riding the trains from city to city, staying in the big hotels, playing baseball in the new ballparks up in the northern cities, in the daytime, under the sun, with real grass in the outfield, just the way the good Lord wanted us to play baseball. I love the competitiveness of the game, the sights, sounds, and smells. I love the smell of my leather glove and the smell of the peanuts, popcorn, Cracker Jacks, and hot dogs in the ballparks, and the sweet smell of the freshly mowed green grass in the outfield. Putting on my Tigers uniform in the clubhouse, lacing up my sharp spikes, polished and shine by my man Friday, hearing the clickety-click sound of my spikes on the concrete floor as I walk down the long corridor on my way to the dugout. Sound of the ball hitting the sweet spot on my back as I drove the ball down the right field line. The crowd standing, cheering, screaming loudly as I rounded first, headed towards second, sliding in, showering the infielder with dirt, and hearing the booming voice of the umpire yell, "Save!" Shoot! I love playing the game so much, I would have played it for nothing. What about you, George? What do you like about playing the game?
I'll tell you what I love about playing the game. Bottom of the ninth at Yankee Stadium, I'm at bat. 4-2, we're down. 2 runners on, 2 outs, 2 strikes on me. Pitcher throws a ball right down the middle of the plate. Bang! Into right field for the game-winning home run. Runners score, jog around the bases, I jog around the bases. Everybody's screaming. Everybody in the house is just yelling and screaming. You know, yeah. I look at the fans in the first row, blow kisses to the ladies in the first row. Everybody goes home happy. Get back to the clubhouse. I shower, get dressed, get in my car, race to town to meet my date for the evening.
How did you like your women, George?
Like my women hot and my beer cold. I'd have about 4 or 5 hot dogs, mustard, relish, sauerkraut, and onion. I'd down about 4 or 5 hot dogs, drink a quart of beer, light up a fat cigar, go out to see my date for the evening. I'd get home late, maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, get a few hours sleep, get up, get dressed, down to the park, do it all over again. I never did need much sleep. You know that?
You sure didn't, George. When you were playing, what did people know about y'all?
You know a damn thing about me. Just what the sports reporters would write in the paper. Hell, sports reporters love me. I'd give them a good quote, drank a few beers with them, made them laugh. Photographers love me, always clowning around, making faces, and hamming it up. Hell, the only thing they knew about me was that I was a great ball player. I hit a lot of home runs. Hey, they knew I liked hot dogs, I liked kids, smoked a cigar, and I wore a fur coat. Men didn't wear fur coats in those days, but I did. I didn't give a damn what anybody thought. Just love beautiful cars and beautiful women. Occasionally I'd wreck my car, but I'd just go out and buy a new one, you know. And they knew I was born in Baltimore, raised in an orphanage. That was tough. You know. I helped build Yankee Stadium. Press called it the house that Ruth built. And they knew that I led the Yankees to 7 pennants and 4 world championships. And once, well, you know about this, I hit 60 home runs in 1927 and had pulled every home run record in the book. What about you, Ty? What people know about you?
They believed I was a dirty ball player, always sharpening my spikes and spiking infielders. They believed I was a racist.
Yeah, that's true.
Hell no! I play by the rules of the game, and the rules give the base pass to the runner. I never intentionally spiked anyone, but an infield or catcher played sloppy or clumsy, if they try to block the base on me, they just might get cut with my sharp spikes as I slid in. If my dear, sweet, little old grandmother was playing shortstop, and she tried to block the base on me, that's right, I'd spike her too. As far as the racist thing is concerned, George, the whole country was racist. There was as much hatred, prejudice, and discrimination against the colors in Boston, New York, and California as there was in Mobile, Memphis, and Atlanta, Georgia. Hell, the major leagues were segregated. And I don't have to remind y'all that while this great nation was fighting for liberty, freedom, and democracy in Europe and Asia in World War II, the United States military was segregated.
You know, Ty, earlier this year, the Brooklyn Dodgers signed a color boy named Jackie Robinson. He can hit, he's fast, he's aggressive. Hell, I think he might lead the Dodgers to the pennant next year. When I was playing, I'd barnstorm. I played in the Negro Leagues. I played against some real great colored boys. Men like Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson, Cool Papa Bell, and Buck O'Neill. Those were great ball players.
Yes, they were.
And great men.
Yes, they were. And, you know, George, I traveled around the Negro Leagues in the 30s and 40s after I retired, and I had the same experience. You know, it was against the rules of Major League Baseball at that time for the colors to play in the same field with white boys. I heard from my good friend Bill Beck of the Cleveland Indians that he just signed a talented young lad named Larry Doby, and he was going to bring him to Cleveland next year. I am so proud that Jackie Robinson is going to Brooklyn to play for the Dodgers, and I tip my cap to Branch Rickey, the Dodgers general manager and the Brooklyn Dodgers. It's about time the majors broke the color barrier. That was a lousy rule. I believe now many teams are going to start signing the Negros.
What was your approach to the game, Ty?
I approached baseball as a science, and I kept notes on every pitcher, including you, George. Baseball is a game of the mind as well as the body, brains as well as brawn. Baseball is 90% mental, and the other half is physical. There's a science to hitting, a science to base running, and a science to winning. He played small ball to score runs. Hits moved runners up one base at a time. Sacrifice bunts were common. Teams like fast guys like me, because every stolen base moved the runner up that much closer to scoring. Runs didn't come in bunches. Baseball was the hit and run, the steal, the double steal, the punt, the chop, the squeeze, the suicide squeeze. Hit the ball to the opposite field and punch the ball through openings in the defense for a single. George, I worked harder and practiced more than anyone in the game. I wasn't the fastest guy in the league. Hell, lots of guys were faster than me. I was smarter. I studied the catchers, kept notes on every one, their arms as well as my own. I once led the league in stolen bases with 96 and had 892 lifetime. George, as you all know, not many guys hit home runs in those days. Back in 1909, I won the Triple Crown, leading the league in runs batted in, batting average, and home runs with 9. 9! They didn't call the dead ball era for nothing. By the way, George, did I tell you I hit 64 inside the park home runs? Y'all know what the most difficult base to steal is?
Home.
Home! Home! That's right. I stole home 54 times without ever being thrown out. Whew. Those are records that remain on the books forever. What about you, George? What was your approach to playing the game?
Completely different. Completely different. Hell, I swung hard with everything I got. Hit big or miss big. Home run or strikeout. Hell, I didn't believe in that scientific mumbo jumbo like you did, you know? I just take the bat and swing, all right? Sometimes, the sports writers come up to me and they'd say, "You ever hear of this guy, Bunyan?" I'd say, "Who is Bunyan?" "Oh, who's Bunyan? What team does he play for? And how many home runs does he hit?" I didn't believe in that scientific mumbo jumbo. I didn't believe in the steals, the bunts, the singles. Just hit the ball as hard as you can. That was my approach.
Do you remember your first game with the Red Sox?
I do. Pitched a game in 1914 against your Tigers. As soon as I got to the mound, I felt that I was at home. That's where I belonged. I was at ease. Hell, it was easy striking out batters. I remember you, Ty, the greatest home run, the greatest hitter of all time. Greatest hitter of all time. I don't know if you remember this, but I struck you out twice that day. Do you remember?
I remember that, George, and I returned to my dugout and told my teammates that wide-eyed back kid had a lucky break. Oh, he could hit a little bit, but I believe he's going to be back in the minor leagues before the end of the season. It was one of the very few times in my life, George, I was wrong. Oh, I know when you went to the Yankees, you hit a few homers. But I said once again, that kid is through. He doesn't know a thing about the science of baseball.
A few home runs?
That's right.
You're never so wrong. My first year with the Yankees, I hit 54 home runs and 59 the next season. Entire teams didn't hit that. I didn't have to know anything about the science of baseball. After I hit a home run, teammates would say, "Babe, what did you hit?" I said, "I don't know. You just look good." Hell, you remember your first game with the Tigers?
I remember my first big league at bat.
Well, you will.
The game was played against the New York Highlanders. Later on, they became the New York Yankees. The date was August 30th, 1905. The game was played at the Polo Grounds in New York City. Yankee Stadium hadn't been built yet. I faced 40-game winner, that's right, 40-game winner, Jack Chesbrough of the New York Highlanders. I strolled into the on-deck circle with 3 bats on my shoulder. No one had ever done that before. My teammates called me a hot dog. A show-off, don't you know? Not true. George, as you all know, when you drop the 2 heavy bats, the remaining one is light as a feather, making it easy to swing. I was always like that to give me an edge, don't you know? Chesbro was a spitballer. Y'all know what a spitball is? That's when the pitcher spits on the ball. Rubs it up real good. Gets it all wet and slippery. He then fires it at you 90 miles an hour. The ball flutters and flies like a drunken butterfly in the way to the plate, making it hard to hit. Damn hard. Major's banned in the early 20s. I stepped into the batter's box, brimming with confidence. His first pitch was a fastball at my head, knocking me on my ass. I heard him yell, "Welcome to the big league, boy!" Laughing his fool head off, I got up, dusted myself off, stepped back into the batter's box, digging in a little closer to the plate. I yelled at him, "Is that the best you can do, boy? My sister throws faster than you!" I stared that sumbitch down. No fear. No fear. You can't play baseball if you're afraid of getting hit by the pitch. He fired his next pitch up high and tight, pushing me back. He was a master at intimidation. I banged his next pitch over the center fielder's head up against the fence for a double. Took my lead off second. Oops. Dancing down the line and screamed at him, "I ain't afraid of you or any other pitcher in this damn league." George, I made a statement that day and kept it up for the next 23 years. Did you ever pitch a no-hitter when you pitched for the Red Sox?
I did. I pitched a game in June 1917, and my first 4 pitches to the batter were strikes. Umpire was blind as a bat and called the balls. First batter walked. All right. So I charged home plate, screaming and yelling at the umpire. Called him blind as a bat. Accidentally punched and pushed him. Doing a few curse words that I can't repeat right here, and I was thrown out of the game. The first batter that I pitched to walked. Ernie Shore comes in and retires 27 batters in a row to pitch a perfect game. Poor Ernie. All they could talk about was me. Ernie got overlooked, but together we pitched a perfect game.
Sure
Wait a
did.
minute, a no-hitter.
A no-hitter. No-hitter. When you were pitching for the Red Sox, what were your best seasons?
1916, 1917. In 1916, I won 23 and lost 12 and had 9 shutouts. 1917, I won 24 and lost 13 and completed 35 games. What's your best game with the Tigers? Your best year with the Tigers?
I have to say 1907, when I won my first of 9 consecutive batting titles, hitting .350, and led my Tigers to the World Series. In 1911, I hit .420 and .409 in 1912. In 1922, I hit over .400 for the 3rd time. No one in the history of Major League Baseball, with the exception of Rogers Hornsby of the St. Louis Cardinals, has ever accomplished such a feat. I believe that will never happen again. Did you all ever pitch in the World Series, George?
I did. I pitched and beat the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1916, then known as the Robins. I pitched and beat them 2-1 in the second game. And I pitched in that second game, I pitched 14 innings and completed the last 13 innings without giving up a hit. We beat the Brooklyn Dodgers 4-1 to win the championship. You know, 1918, people don't realize what a chaotic year that was. War was still going on. There was a flu epidemic in the country. 500,000 Americans died of it.
That was awful.
It was just terrible. That year, 1918, we beat the Cubs 4-2, and I was determined to lead the Boston Red Sox to their 5th World Championship. We beat the Cubs 4-2. First game, 1-0, and beat them 3-2 in the 4th game, which meant I pitched 29 consecutive innings in the World Series without giving up a run. That's a record that's never going to be broken. But wait a minute, in that year also, I led the American League with 11 home runs, and that was only as a part-time outfielder. You know?
George, I know what you did that year, and I tip my cap to you. I still hated you. But deep down, inside my heart, I respected you greatly. That year, I played 111 games, and I hit 3 home runs. And I didn't pitch a single inning. George, I recognized you were a force to deal with, and you were beginning to shove me off my throne as king of baseball. You know, after you were traded to the New York Yankees by the owner of the Red Sox, what's his name?
Harry Fraser.
Crazy Harry Fraser.
Yeah.
That's right. The Boston fans were angry and upset over the fact that you were now in New York. The Red Sox haven't won a World Series since 1918, and the Yankees have won 10. Some people believe there's a jinx or a curse on the Red Sox. What are your thoughts about that, Joe?
I don't believe in any superstitions, jinx, or curses. The players that they had, they weren't very good, and they were often sold to the Yankees. Last year in the World Series, I was watching the World Series, and this guy, Pesky, I thought they were going to win. He holds the ball. It wasn't Pesky's fault. It was the left fielder. They lose the World Series, okay? Well, maybe the baseball gods have jinxed them, and it could be a long time before they win.
Well, it could be, George. It might be another 30 or 40 years before the Red Sox win another World Series. When you were pitching, George, how did you pitch the other batters, including me?
You know, simple, Ty. Fastball high and tight, curveball low and away. Fastball high and tight, curveball low and away. Next pitch, fastball high and tight, curveball low and away. I pitched everybody the same, including you. Sometimes I dare them to hit it. Fastball coming, curveball coming. Sometimes they would, but many times they didn't. Hell, how much are you worth?
None of your damn business, George! No one knows what I'm worth, and I'm not about to tell you. My accountants tell me I'm worth about 14 or 15 million.
Who would you say is the most important player on the team?
I'd say the catcher. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of pass balls. Your wife Helen told me when you were pitching for the Red Sox, you were a gourmet chef. Is that true?
That's true. I was pretty good at mixing up the batter.
You sure were.
You know, you remember a time when we went deer hunting on the Lombard Estate in Georgia?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, not only do I remember, but I remember. I shot and killed 4 deer to your 3, proving once and for all, I was the better hunter.
There you go again, Ty. I think you're getting forgetful in your old age. I shot 4 deer and you shot 3. And a little bit later that day, you were bitten by a rattlesnake. And the rattlesnake died a few minutes later.
George, you got it all wrong. I recollect you were bitten by that snake, and 2 minutes later, that snake was so drunk he couldn't pull a straight line. I remember asking one of your teammates what it was like rooming with Babe Ruth, and he said, I didn't room with Ruth, I roomed with his suitcases.
That's true, I didn't spend much time in any hotel.
That's true, you out there with the women. George, I heard you used to gamble a lot. Is it true you once lost $50,000 gambling in one night in Havana, Cuba?
That's a damn lie. Lost 100 grand.
I heard during the Depression back in 1929, you earned more money than President Herbert Hoover.
That's true, as I told the press at the time. I had a better year.
You did?
Yeah. You know, Ty, if you were playing today, what do you think you'd hit? What would your average be?
If I were playing baseball today, I think I'd be hitting about 220.
220, you were a 367 lifetime hitter.
That's true, George, but I'm 65 years old now. Thank you. You folks have been a great audience. Thank you very much. We'd like to let you know the Babe Ruth Ty Cobb press conference is open. If you all have any questions you want to ask Babe or the Georgia Beach, fire away.
Any questions from the audience?
Well,
What do you think about today's salaries?
what does Babe think? What do I think?
What do you each think?
Take that one, Ty.
Well, I'll tell you. I am so happy for today's modern ball players for taking advantage of the American capitalist system and earning every dime you can get when you deserve to earn that dime.
You know? I don't know, Ty. Where did you make all your money?
Well, I used to hang out with some stockbrokers at a downtown Detroit watering hole in Detroit when I was a young man. I signed a few balls and photos for them. They gave me tips on the stock market. I started investing in various stocks, but I sunk over $10,000 into a small soda pop company in Atlanta.
Coca-Cola?
Coca-Cola. Eventually, George, I had over 20,000 shares valued at over $4 million. That's how I earned my big money.
You know, I earned a lot of money in the game, a lot of money. Some of it, I wasted it. You know, I come out of an orphanage. The big thing in the orphanage, every Sunday, if I was good, I'd get a hot dog. I'd go to the Yankees. You heard about me and hot dogs. You know, that's all I did, right? I made a few bucks, and I really didn't care. I didn't have to have a big mansion like you, you know. I lived in an orphanage. Yeah, I just made a few bucks, and all I wanted to do was hunt with my friends, hunt and fish with my friends. That's the bait.
Anyone else have a question?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Is the pitching today different than it was back then?
Is the pitching today different than it was back then, George? You were a pitcher.
I was a pitcher back then. And what I can say about that is that if I was pitching today, I'd be a 20-game winner. I know. Was it different? Yeah, the ball players were smaller. Maybe they had a lot of pitches. And one of the big differences, spitballs. Now that's illegal. When I played, many pitches threw spitballs. And that was tough to hit. It's about the difference.
I'd have to say one of the differences, too, is the fact that in our day, there were 16 teams in the big show. Today, we've got a little over 30, I believe. So I believe, in my opinion, what I understand watching the TV in the great HD TV screen up in heaven. I know some of you think I went to hell. But what I observe, my opinion is that there are a lot of pitchers in the big show today who probably shouldn't be there.
There's a lot of pitches there, and when I played, myself, I pitched. I completed 35 of my stats in 1917.
Did anyone ever count the pitches you threw?
no, pitch count.
No such thing,
nothing
no
like that.
such thing as a pitch count.
30.
I managed the Tigers from 1921 to 26. I never counted anybody's pitches. I put them out there and let them go as far as they can.
Yeah.
You have a question, young man?
Babe, do you wish you hadn't been traded? How would your life have been different?
Jesus. You know, I don't know. If I wasn't traded to the Yankees, I wouldn't have become Babe Ruth. I would have been a pitcher for the Red Sox. I would have had a great career. Maybe they wouldn't have put me in the outfield. Maybe I would have been a pitcher, but I'll tell you one thing, I would have been a Hall of Fame pitcher.
There's a little story you all might know, having been with the Tigers for over 23 years. The Tigers tried to sign you, George, but ownership there didn't have the money that Colonel Rupert had with the Yankees.
Right.
So it's not that we didn't want you on our team, we sure did. By the way, I know the Yankees wanted me. Of course they wanted me to play in New York,
Well,
but that didn't happen.
another thing about the Babe that maybe you don't know, Ty, is that I always wanted to be a manager. As soon as I quit the Yankees, they let me go. I thought I was going to be their manager. I went up to see Colonel Rupert one day, and I expected to get the job. Didn't get the job, and I heard from a friend that the word around the league was, Ruth, he can't manage himself. How can he manage a big league team?
Ain't that the truth?
That's right.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
If not, we would like to thank you all very